You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's talk about Kyle McCord and Fadil Diggs because they were two heroes for Syracuse football in this one. And don't worry, we'll get to LeQuint Allen in the running back depth later on in the podcast because I'll be honest with you, I think LeQuint Allen with his 4 touchdowns was the MVP. But the reason why I want to talk about Kyle McCord and Fadil Diggs is because Fran Brown mentioned something very interesting in his post-game press conference, and I'll summarize it for you. He said that if Kyle McCord and Fadil Diggs play up to their abilities, Syracuse will win this game. And guess what? Both of them played up to their potential, to their ability, and that is one of the main reasons why Syracuse won 44-41 at UNLV, the second-ranked win of the season for Syracuse. Let's start with the offensive side. We'll go with Kyle McCord, who was 40 of 63, so that is 63%, and my goodness, 63 passing attempts, but I can't even be mad at it. Syracuse ran almost 100 plays for the game. They had the ball almost the entire game on offense, so I can't even be mad at 63 passing attempts. But anyways, 40 of 63 for 63%, 355 yards. Kyle McCord is making 300 yards look like 200 yards at this point. He's just slinging it all over down the field. He had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, and as bad as that interception was, I can't even really be that mad at it because if you're throwing the ball 63 times, you're bound to make a mistake. It's going to happen. I actually looked at the numbers before this and for the season stats, and Kyle McCord's interception rate this season is he's thrown 6 picks in 5 games, but it's only like 2.5%. He's just throwing the ball more than anyone else in the country right now. And when you throw the ball more, you're more likely to make a mistake. So I don't really think that he has much of a turnover problem, in my opinion. I also want to shout out this offensive line for Syracuse football because they deserve a lot of credit. They really do. They've been much maligned these last few weeks for their pass protection, or really lack thereof for pass protection. Kyle McCord threw the ball 63 times, as I have mentioned already, like 3 times now in this podcast. Sorry for being repetitive, but no sacks. None. And to my eye test, I didn't even see a lot of pressure either. Where there are times where Kyle McCord saw pressure, maybe a little. He had to roll out a few times, but it wasn't like every single play. It wasn't overwhelming. And whenever there was a blitz, Kyle McCord did a nice job of getting rid of it quickly. He found his hot receiver multiple times in this one. He had a check down on LeQuint Allen. He found Trevor Pena. He was sensational at recognizing the blitz and getting it out to his hot receiver, the hot route, if you will. But this offensive line was terrific. If you remove the Jack Stonehouse, quote-unquote, negative 13-yard run, because the first block punt was technically not a block punt, Syracuse had 32 carries for 150 yards, which is 4.69 yards per carry. So the O-line, no sacks allowed, 4.69 yards per carry. They were sensational. Back to Kyle McCord now, all right? He started this game 11 for 11. He didn't necessarily spread the ball to every single player like he usually does. The first 4 weeks of the season, Syracuse would have 8, 9 pass catchers a game. In this one, not as much. I believe maybe only 6 players caught a pass, but 4 players on this team caught at least 8 passes. Oronde Gadsden, LeQuint Allen, Trevor Pena, and Jackson Meeks. Trevor Pena and Jackson Meeks, aside from Jackson Meeks' touchdown, had the quietest 8 catches you will ever see. You didn't even really notice them, and then you look at the stat sheet, they each had 8 catches. I thought what made McCord really good in this game was that it was his anticipation and recognizing when UNLV was in zone coverage. Because when UNLV was in zone coverage, he knew exactly where to go with the football. It's why we saw at times Oronde Gadsden was just wide open. Them two were just clicking. They were clicking in this one. They saw the defense clearly. Oronde Gadsden knew exactly where to go in the zone, and Kyle McCord did not miss him. That is what made Kyle McCord in this one. And not only that, again, it goes back to the overall theme of the game, which was fighting through adversity. We have seen so many times through these first 5 games now where Kyle McCord makes a mistake, it doesn't rattle him. We think about the 2 times, the 2 interceptions against Stanford, the drive after each of those interceptions, Kyle McCord engineered a touchdown drive. He's really good. He doesn't get rattled. He's very mature. He's going to make mistakes, but guess what? You can always count on him to bounce back from that mistake. It's not necessarily about avoiding the mistake. It's about how you respond to it. And Kyle McCord does an excellent job of that. Let's now go to Fadil Diggs. He had himself a great game. He finished with 6 tackles and 2 sacks. Both of those sacks were his tackles for loss. He was flying all over the field in this one, and he's being asked right now to do more than really anyone else on the defense because he's really a defensive lineman, but he's being asked to play on the D-line, and he's being asked to be a linebacker because, well, all ACC linebacker Marlo Wax is still out with an injury, a lower body injury. And hopefully he does get back soon, right? We got a 6-week timetable when he suffered it in week 1. So I remember doing the math on it with Marlo Wax. If he comes back early, it'll be Saturday against NC State. That would be terrific. If it's where he's supposed to be, it'll be for the Pitt game right after that. So you're looking at probably 1 to 2 more weeks with Marlo Wax. But with Marlo Wax out, Fadil Diggs is basically playing 2 positions. He's lining up everywhere. He's a quarterback spy. He's rushing the passer. He's on the D line trying to set the edge. And there was one play in this one where he got super unlucky because it was a 1st and goal or whatever. It was a goal to go situation, and it was a busted play, a bad snap for UNLV. Second time in the first 18 plus minutes of the game that they had a bad snap. And Haj Malik Williams corralled it, and nobody was setting the edge because, well, it was a busted play and they got maybe a little bit too aggressive, but I call that unlucky. Bottom line is that Fadil Diggs was all over the place, and as Fran Brown said, if Kyle McCord and Fadil Diggs play up to their abilities, Syracuse will beat UNLV. I thought both of them did exactly that, and let's hope that this defense can get Marlo Wax back soon so Fadil Diggs can just line up on that D line, pin his ears back, and just go rush the passer, because that'll certainly help out this pass rush.